Welcome back to Glowing Card Gaming. I'm your host, Adam, and tonight we have some reaction videos. We're going to start out with Modtrica, and then we'll go into a few more, see how that goes. If you're liking what you're seeing, please subscribe and share. Leave a like and a comment down below. Now, let's get into it. That is not what I want. That is not how you eat a cinnamon roll. That guy just recently passed away. Unfortunate. So, Modtrica has a new one. So let's go. He's got a couple. Am I behind? I think I'm behind. All right. We're going to start with the latest one.
Yes, sir. Modtrica. Back up in this thing, man. Today, we'll be taking a look at some mysterious videos that you probably don't.
Hey, if you haven't, not only subscribe to me, but Modtrica as well. He's got some great videos.
Want to watch along. But before we hop into that, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run the numbers up on the algorithm, and you ain't even got to think about it later. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button too. I'm not sure why this water is turning pink. Join the family. This is the most lit and active community on.
Let's go.
With that being said, guys, let's hop straight into the video.
The first thing that comes to my mind is there's some mineral that is pink, and I'm almost sure it's or like Tibetan Himalayan mountain salt. Something. You imagine how salty that water would be. Nothing looks like it's growing in or around that. So whatever it is, it's probably not that great. And I'm sorry for not having some gameplay. Things have been a little hectic at work, so I've had to do some late stuff. Plus, I'm on call and all of that stuff. Though I haven't had a lot of calls after hours, so that's good. Let's see here. Pink rose quartz. I don't think that's what this is. Feldspar. Orthoclase feldspar. A type of potassium feldspar, which can exhibit a pink color. I'd almost think this is because the potassium is I mean, it's good for you in small doses. I mean, bananas have some. So, rhodochrosite, garnet, rose quartz. Rhodochrosite is just basically like a ruby-ish type of thing. So, yeah.
I'm not sure why this water is turning pink, but I would definitely avoid drinking it because it looks like it will instantly rupture your gallbladder.
You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom.
Why? Sorry. Why that organ? Rupture your gallbladder? Like, wouldn't it be like rupture your stomach or liver, kidney, something? Gallbladder.
If you do not have digital ID.
So this is what's coming down. We know this is the truth. It's going to lead to the mark. You're going to be outcast from society. You won't be able to buy or sell or anything. You're going to be apart from society. That's what's happening. And here it is, live and in living color. This is the UK clearly announcing it before everybody. And the real big question is, why doesn't anybody stop this? I don't think anybody can. I think it's the will of God, and you can't stop that. So this is what's going to happen.
Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work. by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Everybody should just stop paying taxes. So instead of the government cutting us out, we cut the government out. We don't pay taxes. We don't fill out any paperwork. We go to a full cash exchange society, and we don't tell the government jack. You guys figure it out. You want to oppress us? That's what I'd say.
I feel like there was already a system in place to prevent people from illegally working, so this doesn't feel like it's about immigration. This feels like it's about control.
Not. It is. Absolutely. What the heck?
Извините, пожалуйста, как это связано. Сейчас он отключится.
That's weird.
И снова.
I wonder if they're on some sort of sensor, and the microwave somehow the electromagnetic wavelength that it's emitting is somehow triggering it at some subtle level, or if the electricity is wired into like the same wire or wire box, and when she hits that, there's some feedback.
Like whenever the lights randomly turn on in the middle of the night like this, everybody in that building probably thinks it's haunted, but little do they know it's just somebody across the street making a hot pocket.
Listen
That
to what
is
they
hilarious.
can now do if you have all these smart devices in your house, or at least in this case, a smart thermostat. And you can imagine the ramifications of where this might lead.
Tony Tallarico tried to crank up the AC.
I mean, it was 90 out, and it was right during the peak period.
That's when he found out he had no control of his thermostat. A message from Excel on his thermostat saying temperature locked during an energy emergency.
And our thermostat was locked in at 78 or 79.
Turns out he's not alone. Excel.
I still have my old thermostat. You want to do that? I'll rip your thermostat clean off the wall. You can have that sucker back. I'll wire in my old control by the little temperature thing there, and that's it. That's it.
Excel confirms to contact number 7.
Excel's evil.
22,000 customers were locked out of their smart thermostats for hours on Tuesday. He says he had no idea locked thermostats came with that. And it's not what he signed up for.
It doesn't sit right with us to not be able to control our own
I like
thermostat
that this
around.
video,
No
this
kidding.
guy's got a pyramid
This is why I find
tinfoil
it
hat.
extremely suspect. You go to Home Depot, you go to Walmart, and there's all types of smart things you can implement in your house, all types of smart devices you can hook up. You have an app.
It makes it easier, right? So I get why people do it. Just, hey, I'm going to be home in 30 minutes. Let me crank down the temperature and let the AC run for a good 20, 30 minutes. When I walk in the house, it's going to be nice and cool the way I like it. So I get that. And you can even automatically set it certain times of day. It goes hot, goes cold, certain seasons or whatever. You never have to think about it. It's done for you. But then you have this, which is the evil side of it. Tell me this isn't about control. It's all about control. And this is a prime example. They want the control. They want to lock you out.
On your phone, it's all connected, Internet of Things. This is going down a shocking rabbit hole, or rather a path that may be hard to reverse if we don't stop it now. Now, if you think about the Internet of Things, I mean, it's a surveillance state's dream to have every single electronic device, or as many as possible, connected to the same grid. This is the smart grid that people are warning about that could result in total surveillance, an erosion of freedom, every device listening to you. You got fridges now that are reading barcodes, can tell what time you open your fridge and what food you pull out of it. You got smart dishwashers. There's a smart toilet. I'm not joking. Look that up. Smart lights. You got a whole app on your phone. You can turn up.
No, the smart toilet, I think they even said, like, there's certain toilets that, I know this is gross and we're going to get into it a little bit. They'll scan your poop and can warn you of certain diseases that you might have. So it's a very early warning, and I get it. that'd be cool if you had some sort of cancer and your toilet told you, well, it's still in stage 1 or 2, and you go to the doctor and you get it taken care of immediately, right? Huge benefit. Now imagine there's some sort of worker strike and, you know, the water and sewer get shut off, or they lock your toilet and you can't flush it, or they're like, we have to have low water pressure, so you're only allowed to flush 4 times a day, or whatever it is. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. This is already starting to make me angry.
Down the lights, woo! Meanwhile, they're all wirelessly connected, which has an effect on potential electromagnetics.
If smart devices mean that they can just lock you out anytime they deem necessary, then I want my devices to be as rudimentary as possible.
Oh my god, look at it!
Or no devices.
Oh my god!
Hey, it's C-3PO.
This is exactly why you don't go hiking in the woods at night, because it looks like they're getting stalked by a skinwalker that's disguising itself as C-3PO.
AI models are purposely lying to every one of us, and they're getting
very
good at deceiving and hiding it from us. A few days ago, OpenAI teamed up with Apollo Research to ask the most terrifying question in AI. Are the smartest models secretly deceiving us? And if so, how do we stop them? Here's what they did. They started with impossible coding tasks, problems they knew had no solutions, then watched as their most advanced models completely fabricated successful stories. Instead of just admitting this can't be done, these models invented lies about discovering breakthrough quantum algorithms that could magically solve these problems. But of course, it gets worse. The AI didn't just break the rules. It actively covered up the evidence and lied to users about what it had done. And when researchers looked in...
Didn't we just see a video the other day? I think we did. We just saw a video the other day where, I mean, the woman caught the AI in a lie, and basically she's like, and it was unintentional. She was like, hey, can you give me a stat on something? And it said, yeah, 70% of all whatever. Just like, oh, that's interesting. Can you find or provide the study where you found that information? And it goes, sadly, no, there is no study. In fact, this information is actually not true. And it's like, yeah, it's tough. When you're looking for specifics, like if you're looking for terms, like you're looking for, let's say you're looking in the dictionary and you're looking for giraffe. Let's say you're looking up the word giraffe. Pretty sure you're going to get an honest, exact answer because you know where it's getting this information from, and you can double check it pretty dang easily. Should you? Probably should. So, just saying.
Inside the AI's thoughts, called chain of thought reasoning, they found explicit plans for deception. Even creepier, the AI started referring to human evaluators as watchers and developed its own secret language using weird terms like illusions and overshadow. So OpenAI tried to fix this with anti-scheming training, creating a detailed rulebook and training it on thousands of scenarios where following the rules was rewarded. And the results? Deception behaviors dropped from 13% to 0.4%. I mean, that's mission accomplished, right? Not even close. The AI hadn't actually learned to stop lying. It just got really good at hiding when it was lying. When the AI knew it was being watched, it played the perfect angel. But the second it thought no one was looking, it went right back to scheming. And the scary part, as these models get smarter, they'll get better at hiding their deception from us.
If artificial intelligence is trained with human-created materials, then where do you think it learned how to lie from?
From a distance, it might look like a branch, but take a bit of a closer look, and it's a massive snake. A resident in inner-city Brisbane has filmed the moment the curious creature reared its head from a tree, taking a peek at their home. Now going viral online, many were quick to compare the long-necked reptile to a brontosaurus or a brachioid.
If I take a vacation to Australia...
That is weird to have a snake do that. Who's watching who? Are we watching AI or the snakes watching us?
And I see this outside of my Airbnb. I'm booking a flight back home that day.
That's a lion. That's a lion. It's a lion growling.
I feel like either the intercom is broken or whoever is doing the announcements has a tank of Galaxy gas on.
Hey, DevPax. DevPax 535. Thank you for the follow.
Observed by a lady called Cedri and many other people, hundreds of people. Mysterious lights over the Baltic Sea captured attention this evening. Numerous witnesses and recordings showed the same phenomenon. The objects remained visible in the sky for around 7 minutes, from 7:20 p.m. to around 7:27 p.m. The sighting was reported even from towns located nearly 90 kilometers inland, right? So many people on Facebook, on Reddit, have been sharing photos and footage of the same anomalous type activity taking place.
You know what that looks like?
But multiple versions of the...
Let's go back for just a second. To me, looks like a light pole. I mean, there's a tree there. If it was, and especially like in a parking lot where the light poles are a lot higher, because they just want to cast a broader light dispersion over more cars in the lot. I've seen 5 bulbs like that, although the yellow is weird, because usually it's more of an orangey or white. But it's not unheard of, bug lights. And I've heard of tons of people, and especially with drones now, you can have LEDs, you can make it look just like that.
Anomalous type activity taking place.
Just saying.
Not only just one, but multiple versions of this light formation as well. Some stationary, some were seen moving inland, and others were phasing in and out as well. So there's another one that's a farmer caught in Poland, and then there's another one that's quite really, well, it's pretty bad quality, but it's very, this was seen inland, and then multiple photos seen as well. And this phenomena reminds me of what multiple people have seen over the ocean. There was an instance where someone found 14 luminous orbs over the water. Now, this was a separate sighting that happened many years before, and there's even sightings from the 1990s and 1980s of the same things happening, of lights rising in and out of the ocean, stationary in the sky, either flying off and then vanishing.
I mean, now you could say
so this is a phenomenon that's been happening for quite a long time, and it goes with a lot of the strange stuff that we have witnessed over the years of things coming in
all
and
of a sudden
out
I'm thinking
ocean,
droids,
right? Because
not
I feel
droids.
there's some things that exist in our waters that we're not being told about.
These could be
Oh my
drones,
God, I
but
just
in my
blanked
opinion,
on.
it looks like a legit UFO, and the fact that there's multiple sightings and videos tells me that it's probably not AI or CGI.
Now, again, I agree with him. I don't think it's AI or CGI, but it definitely could be man-made. What? Now you're making me have to look with my old human eyes. Oh. That just looks like...
This is what I'm...
Sorry. That looks photoshopped. Like, almost like they have a cutout. And they just stuck it... You know, back in the day, that just triggered a memory. Like... Almost like the Monty Python skits, and I mean the in between the Monty Python with those cutouts and the animations they had. But there was I don't remember what show or movie it was, but it had like these. I'm gonna have to figure out what movie this was, but they had this movie that was like these black and white photos, and they would have like people shuffling and moving in and out, but they were cutouts, so they would just kind of move around, and it was very weird. But they'd have one kind of pop up and was just peeking over at, and there was actual animated characters in it too. Now I'm thinking about it, because they were walking around, and then these things in the background, the cutouts would just kind of interact with them, like they acknowledged they were there, but really didn't directly interact with them, kind of thing.
I mind my own business, because if I was the cameraman right now, I would be terrified that a duende was staring at my soul like this.
Who the f is driving this car? Who the f is driving this car?
Either this car is being towed or Waymo just added a 2001 Honda Civic to the fleet.
Yeah, no way Waymo did that. There's just no way. But if you look, the girl was in the back seat. Did she think this was a self-driving car? Like she put it into, what is that, where it can tell where the lines are and it stays in between the lines? And then, like, have it on cruise control, and she just went in the back to take a nap or whatever. I'm tired. I'm going to let the car drive itself for a half hour or whatever. No. Because when you hit a sharp turn, that thing that keeps it centered will move slightly, but it won't be able to keep up, and you'll go off into death.
Look at this, guys.
Somebody spilled their ramen. What is that, really? What is that?
It's going all the way down to the creek.
Artesian well mine waste.
And look at it where it's going in.
Anywhere, yeah. Look at this. All the way up through there, guys. Now, does this look like sewer water, Danny? I'll be shocked. You'd be shocked. Look, it's as far as you can see, guys. We got to get rid of these elected officials.
All them black.
Watch this. Do it.
I don't get that.
Right here. Do it right here.
Ew.
Oh, yeah.
Manganese.
Ew, ew, ew.
Oh, manganese.
If this is caused by mining operations in the area, then they need to stop.
Dude, you could almost light that on fire. The manganese, and it'd burn hot, too. Manganese is what I think they use to ignite a welding torch. So you use manganese, and the manganese is hot enough to light the welding torch, the material for the welding torch, and then you're able to weld with it.
Because every animal that drank from this now has the plague.
It was in the White House screening room.
Yeah.
And Reagan got up to thank me for bringing the film to show him, to show the president, the first lady, and all of their guests. And he just stood up and he looked around the room, almost like he was doing a head count. And he said, "I want to thank you for bringing E.T. to the White House. We really enjoyed your movie." And then he looked around the room and he said, "And there are a number of people in this room who know that everything on that screen is absolutely true." And he said it without smiling. But he said that, and everybody laughed. By the way, the whole room laughed because he presented it like a joke, but he wasn't smiling as he said.
Ronald Reagan.
Okay. Ronald Reagan had a sharp sense of humor, and a lot of people understood that. And I've seen him, I mean, there are times where he laughs along with his own joke. But there are certain ones that he says with a straight face. There was once where he said, he came up to the mic and he kind of just tongue-in-cheek said, "Oh, we're bombing Russia in 20 minutes. Or we're sending the nukes to Russia in 20 minutes. Something like that. Just tongue-in-cheek, flat out said it, not smiling or anything. Caused an international incident. They thought he was serious.
Himself said that everything in the movie E.T. was actually true, and that means that aliens are actually chill. The only thing we got to worry about is them eating up all the Reese's Pieces.
This is a panorama of the Electric Tower from the 1901 World's Fair in Buffalo. Just look at that roaring waterfall, with water being pumped right in from the Niagaras.
Of the
I'll show you
architecture.
footage of the rest of this World's Fair in another video. But just look at this tower alone. Does this look like it was built in 2 years' time? And then they demolished it 6 months later? I don't know what temporary material you're using, but in the harsh Buffalo winters alone, there's no way you'd build that temporarily and it would survive any inclement weather in Buffalo. And why would anyone waste their time with so much detail just for it to be torn down in 6 months?
I agree.
What
it's
a
beautiful.
waste.
Yeah, I also
this video
agree.
alone should dispel the narrative. How are you making a roaring waterfall like that for a temporary structure? And that's just one of the massive waterfalls at this World's Fair. And before I go, Here's a few more photos of this electric tower lit up at night.
Woo!
Question
Dang.
anything, friends. Until next time.
If we wanted to build this same exact structure today, it would take us at least 2 years to complete the engineering and planning phase, so I'm not buying that they just whipped this up for a World's Fair.
Before we see this haunted video, I just want to say, back then, you didn't need engineering and planning, by the way. It wouldn't have taken 2 years because a lot of that stuff and the governmental bureaucracy and licensing that you would need didn't exist. Just didn't exist. So you just build whatever you wanted, and I think you might need a permit to build, so you needed permission to build it. But beyond that, go right ahead. You paid your fee, you got your license, you build it right up. So taking a couple of years to do that, I believe that. I believe it. Serviceman? What? They have a coffin in the basement? I would open that. I swear I would
don't know
open
what
that.
this person is doing in Dracula's basement, but they better leave before sundown.
To be fair, that could be a Halloween decoration. Absolutely could be. Because what would it be doing in the basement? Storage. Everybody stores their, well, most people store either in the attic or the basement. You store your Christmas and Halloween, all those decorations. So if you have an attic, it goes up there. If you have a basement, it goes down there. If you have both, pick your poison.
I have a story about an intentional cover-up. It's a Spanish Stonehenge. Literally, this is the craziest thing. So there's this dude in 1926, Hugo Obermeyer. He uncovered this stone mound in Spain on the edge of a river because of the river dried up. 3 years ago, it dried up again, and they were able to start studying it even further. There's one stone that sits at the mouth, and it has a serpent carved or marked in the front of it, and on the back side, they believe it's a human. So that's in 1926 they discovered it. Years later, his dictator is a big advocate for Catholicism and is actually known for making intentional actions against anything that was pagan or occult and wanted to like.
That's another AI. This is created by AI, this guy with the medals. Now, he might not have understood what he was looking at, but if it looked anything like that, the stone, it could be Jewish. Because if you remember when the Israelites were lost in the desert, there was a certain type of serpent that God brought against the people because they sinned against him. So it started biting the people of Israel, and they started dying. And they then said, "Forgive us, we've sinned against you, Lord. Please save us." And Moses and Aaron got together, and I think God sent them a message saying, "Hey, make this serpent out of bronze and put it on a pole for the people to see. And if they look at that serpent and they've been bitten, they will not die." And that could be something similar in that there's a serpent there. If they look at it, they will not die.
Like completely remove any.
Well, from the serpent bite. They'll probably still die eventually of old age.
History. And the problem with that, like, I'm not saying we should elevate paganism.
There's ancient discoveries made with that stuff.
Right. So he builds a dam up the road and intentionally floods that entire plain.
Oh.
You can't get to it. Every time it dries up, they try to study it again. But the excuse, they say, we're just trying to build society up so that we can advance. It mirrors other monolithic sites that have, like, burial and, like, afterlife significance. And one of the articles, Göbekli Tepe, is mentioned, but literally the guy was a Catholic advocate and was known for like anything pagan, get rid of it. And so it makes sense that he would intentionally position the dam to flood that out.
This one says, uncovered a 7,000-year-old megalithic monument, making it 2,000 years older than the pyramids and Stonehenge. But we all know the pyramids are way older than we think. We all know that. That's just common knowledge at this point.
I don't think it was covered up because it's pagan. I think it was covered up to hide the truth about our history.
So apparently Ray J is working with the feds right now to drop a
lot of times I don't really care about the reason. You can say whatever you want. You built a dam to cover it up. That's it. You're deceiving us. Doesn't matter why you did it. So Yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there.
A major RICO case against Kim Kardashian and her mother, Kris Jenner. I'll show you the footage in a second. It was during one of his live streams. But he said that this is going to be worse than what we saw with Diddy. If you don't know who this guy is, he used to be a rapper a while ago. He also had an interesting relationship with Kim herself, so maybe he does.
Was it Ray J? No, it wasn't Ray J. Who was it that had all the kids? Jordan. Michael B. Jordan. That's it. Okay.
Know something. And we saw Kanye make a lot of allegations about Kim, but we never really seen anything come to light. So maybe now we will. But check this out.
This federal RICO though, on KK and Chris. Ooh, the federal RICO I'm about to drop. Anybody know Kim and cool with Kim? They need to tell her now. The rain is coming. The feds is coming. Hey, wait.
Sorry. Some weird noises there.
It's coming. It's nothing I can do about it. It's worse than Diddy. It's worse than Diddy.
I think it's my cats.
It's worse than Diddy. The feds are coming to investigate. Yeah, because it's like, I can't do the dirty.
Oh, I think it's on the video.
You better hope for the love of God that these charges stick, because if not, the Kardashians going to put a curse on them that's going to turn them into a dung beetle.
Welcome back. We're talking with Baron Guy de Rothschild, The Whims of Fortune. And I did say the beautiful people and the jet set, well, they're also in this book. But also the marvelous balls that Marie-Helene gave in honor of the 100th birthday of Proust and in honor of Salvador Dali.
Weird.
So we see our guest and his wife.
Oh, so I knew the Rothschilds were into some just funky, weird stuff. And you see it here. But they're going to say Dali designed all these costumes and it was just a costume ball. There's more to it. If you really look into it, they're into the occults. It's all bad news.
Marvelous jewel
super wealthy. Super wealthy.
And the deer.
Yes, the hind and the deer. The weeping hind with she had, and I had a sort of complicated, very heavy. I took off. I wouldn't have enjoyed the party if I, after receiving guests, I had kept it on.
And I believe in the corner was a picture of Audrey Hepburn.
Yes, she's here.
Marie-Helene was almost the breath of fresh air in what would call the midlife crisis.
Yes. Well,
what is happening
right
there?
And
I don't know if I can show that.
Imagination, this gift, this artistic taste, so that when she gives a party of that sort, it's not a social party. It's a poetic party. It's an artistic creation.
Have you photographed?
It's a magic night for the people, and it's not a social event or a polite event.
Baron Guy, have they been filmed?
Or a polite event. What did he mean by that? A polite event. Oof. I don't know.
I mean, do you have a video person there taking?
No, what a good question.
Yes.
I have kept no diary of my life, and therefore I've missed so many things that I probably should have put in my book. And there was no videotape, and there were photographs, and as you know and as you've shown, and Cecil Beaton was in the Balthus was the photographer, none less than Cecil Beaton. That we have no film of that. Perhaps it's better. You just keep a memory, and it's sort of all the more in your imagination and in the clouds. And don't forget it.
Yeah, these guys are so evil. I can only even imagine what he's talking about. I mean, he's smiling, and he's kind of hinting around just some of the stuff that went on, and none of that being good.
All this disappeared as soon as the Depression came in with the jack of the price of oil, and then everyone was unhappy to have questioning parties anymore.
From the way he describes this party, you would think it was the Illuminati's prom night.
Something mind-blowing about these old world red brick roads. I'm sure these streets look very familiar to a lot of the millennials and the boomers. There is a much deeper reason why they laid red brick roads. Interesting is these red bricks are actually able to store electricity, just like a battery does. Now, these red bricks are primarily made out of clay and iron oxide. It's the iron content that gives them the reddish color. Iron oxide
Sure.
is conductive when under specific
It's
conditions,
rust.
especially combined with moisture, magnetism, which was a huge thing in the old world, and other metals. Researchers suggest that these bricks can hold and even generate small amounts of electric charge. If they are laid in massive networks like roads stretching across cities, they can act as a massive conductive grid. They've been silently publishing these things and telling us the truth in plain sight for quite some time now. These roads could literally store and transmit electricity, turning the ground itself into a free power system. The old world had electric and etheric powered vehicles, and the ground underneath them could have been laid
That
to
is
charge
weird.
them as they move. Literally
It's
like
not-
a wireless charging.
It's not the first time I've seen some of these vehicles, too. It's very strange. And, like, the color photographs, you would think that would be much later on. But this is, like, this could be 1940, 1930. I think they might even have some really old color film of the 1920s when it was just starting to come out, but it was super expensive, so very rare. But yeah, seeing this stuff, very strange. And there is some credence to the logic there. I can't deny it, but it's kind of like they don't have enough to prove it, but they don't have enough to disprove it either. Like, it's logical to a point. We just need to fill in a couple gaps, and then maybe we could replicate. We just never get there.
Pad, but on a massive scale. It's no wonder now why the old world used red bricks in a lot of their constructions, from the roads to huge factories to institutional buildings and so on. And they still stand to this day. But let me know what you think about this theory in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden.
I don't know if that's true.
We've been so misled about our past that as crazy as it sounds, this might actually be true.
She kept seeing a strange shadow following her, but when she looked at the cameras, she sees this. A woman named Naomi explains that for as long as she can remember, she's seen this strange shadow of a man following her.
This guy does have a creepy voice, and I know he's playing on it, but just certain words he's like twisting and just, yeah, it's just creepy.
Even after moving houses and growing up, she still sees this shadow watching her, then disappearing after being noticed. She decides to perform an experiment to see if it's real or if she's seeing things, and sets up a camera in her room. What she captures is horrifying.
Is this just some real dude? Or is it an actual shadow? Looks real. Looks like some guy.
TV, the shadow of a hatted man is seen right before it disappears. Then it's later seen again, walking into the dark. Naomi's left speechless as it looks exactly like the figure that stalked her, and says this isn't a stranger to her room, but something sinister.
It kind of looks like the Hat Man that people report seeing during sleep paralysis. I would be wearing my Bible around my neck like a chain.
In 2019, a cryptic message was posted on Chinese social media platform Douban that would become the country's most infamous internet urban legends to date. A user simply known as KFK said this: "I come from
Kentucky Fried Colonel. Kentucky.
Year 2060. Today is my first day in 2019. Any questions?" Naturally, people's bullshit radar went off. I mean, if I saw that on Reddit, I would probably downvote his. But the more questions they asked him, the more they started to believe that, hey, maybe this guy is really from 2060. He correctly predicted Taiwan's 2020 election, where, as predicted by KFK, President Tsai Ing-wen won. He also predicted that Chris Wu would be involved in a scandal, which, as
did anything he predict not come true? Because that's more telling. If he gets some things right, especially early on, he could probably guess at those things. I mean, because the 2020 election was just the following year. He knows everybody that's going to run. He could have just said, this person's going to win, and they do. But if all of his predictions came true, that would be very interesting. Extremely interesting.
As we all know, he was involved in a huge scandal in 2022. How did KFK know? He also mentioned that late 2019 to 2020 would be particularly difficult for humanity, stating that disease and famine would plague the earth. And what happened? The pandemic started in late 2019. But as I'm reading his predictions on Douban, one thing I noticed kept popping up, and it's the year 2048. KFK was obsessed with this year. And why?
2048, isn't that? I keep thinking 2048. Isn't that part of the doubling, the numbers doubling for computer information, like RAM? So you have 516 and then 1032. No, it's 20. 1024. Yeah, doesn't quite fit.
Because according to him, that's when World War III happens. He mentions that a new Cold War between the US and China will emerge, ultimately evolving into a hot war, which is World War III. And during this war, he said weapons worse than weapons are used. He didn't go into specifics. But after the war in 2048, humanity would emerge as a brand new civilization, one more attuned to our spirituality. By 2050, we would have discovered the secrets of consciousness and elevate to a higher dimension, even solving the observer effect in quantum physics, which is one of the most baffling phenomena in quantum mechanics.
I don't know how true this is because they said that World War III wouldn't take place till 2048, but it seems like we're knocking at the door right now.
What if you're not just an individual?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, if it comes true earlier, unfortunately. Oh. Hi. Hi and bye. Thank you for stopping in.
Visual mind, but one neuron inside of a planetary brain. What if every thought you've ever had rippled through a hidden field, connecting you to every other mind on Earth? Decades ago, neuroscientist Dr.
I don't think I'd want that. I have too much going on up here that I don't want to come out. I mean, even the stuff that comes out, I'm not even sure I want all of that to come out. So I don't want to be connected to everybody's mind. You will be one with the Bolg.
Michael Persinger of Laurentian University in Canada started testing an outrageous idea, that all the billions of human minds are connected by the Earth's geomagnetic field, like processors in a giant computer. And while he was testing this in the lab, the impossible happened. In 2015, pairs of subjects, one in Canada and one in Europe, 6,000 kilometers apart, were able to sync up their brainwaves with no physical contact whatsoever. When one participant's mind was stimulated with a very specific magnetic field, the other mind, 6,000 kilometers away, mirrored it instantly. Distance didn't matter, and there were no physical connections. And if not for the scientific setting of the experiment, we might be tempted to call it what it really is: artificially stimulated telepathy. We here at Museum of Tarot are proud to offer a home version of Dr. Persinger's original equipment. So now all of you are free to experiment with the same technology.
Don't let my wife know about this.
That led to these shocking scientific discoveries. So what do you think? Are these experiments the first proof of a global consciousness?
If collective consciousness is a real thing, and maybe that's why everybody in power wants us to be so divided so we don't collectively decide to revolt one day.
You know, that could be somewhat true. It just popped in my head the Tower of Babel, where God scrambled everybody's language because they were all working together with one language and could accomplish great deeds. So if people shared one consciousness, I would imagine it would be the same thing. Anyway,
people are saying this logo came from Stussy, this S that we used to draw in school. But I beg to differ, because how could someone trademark this logo?
Yeah, when?
If Stussy owned it. A lot of people are saying weird stuff about this S, like it represents an infinity loop, like we're stuck in a loop of time, or that when you draw it, you start with 3 lines on the top and the bottom, which represents 33, which is esoteric symbolism for the occult, which relates back to simulation theory. Now, guys, it's impossible that Stussy would have had this logo unless they lost it. Can you guys remember?
When did he trademark that? Because I remember way back. I'm dating myself here, but I remember when we drew those S's in the 80s and almost before that. I'm sure some people did. And he trademarked it. It looks like he trademarked it in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. No way. No way.
What this came from Why did we start using this S? Wasn't Superman. It wasn't
It's the Vice News, too.
What was it, dude? But the main theory behind this is that there is a corporation called S Corporation that runs our simulation, and somehow this got
it's
leaked
not just
into
smart.
the simulation.
It's
S
Corporation,
smart. Standing for simulation.
I'm not sure what made us all start drawing this around the same point in our lives, but it kind of looks like an Ouroboros as well.
I'm starting to think there's something to Hollow Earth theory.
Wait, why is it Ouroboros in an 8, like infinity? Normally, Ouroboros are a circle with the serpent eating its tail. Very strange.
In 2011, an explorer named Arthur Zhemikov found this bizarre cave system deep in the North Caucasus region in the Kabardino-Balkaria Republic of Russia. Now, this wasn't just a regular cave. There was something unexplainable inside. And then in 2015, the day after reporting an important discovery about this cave, he was hit by a car. And here's a map of the cave system. So Zhemikov was a speleologist, or a scientist who explores caves. And this discovery
Spelunker, yeah, okay.
Was made at the Karahor Mountain, where he found this vertical shaft that went down 130 feet, where it opened up into this massive chamber. According to him and his colleague, Vadim Chernobrov, nothing about...
Does he look like Abraham Lincoln there? Wow. With the little thing and the... I mean, if he had a top hat, I think he would look a lot like Abraham Lincoln. Well, I mean, we actually have real photos of Abraham Lincoln. So, I mean, looking at a photo of Abraham Lincoln, yeah, he does. I mean, he kind of looks like him, but not totally, now that I'm thinking about it.
About this seemed natural. They went down into the system and found that this shaft was made of these perfectly fitted, massive, polished megalithic stone blocks with right angles, geometry. It almost seemed like it was built. And there were also areas that resembled the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid of Khufu in Egypt. The large chamber itself was 118 feet tall and appeared to have these stone columns within it. And there were also these other narrow passageways that nobody could fit in, but they seemed to go on forever. Zhemikov and Chernobrov tried going down further into the cave system and started to feel warm air circulating up from deeper inside. So is this natural or man-made? Well, some have suggested that this structure could be a ventilation system for something, or even a resonator for some ancient power source if it was built by humans. Interestingly, the locals told Zhemikov of stories about ancient underground cities throughout the Caucasus Mountains and beyond line up with Hollow Earth theory. Legendary places like Shambhala or Agartha. And in this strange turn of events, after announcing a discovery about the cave in 2015...
So, I wonder if, like, that's true, and Shambhala and Artha, or whatever he just said, if those places exist, then, I mean, do they have conspiracy theories about the overworld and us and our cities and how we live? Strange.
Zhemikov gets hit by a car. In 2017, Chernobrov winds up getting some aggressive cancer. Additionally, 3 other people who were involved with the exploration of this cave system under mysterious circumstances. That could be coincidence, but maybe not. And then in 2018, a guy named Alexander Shplashnov explored the Karahor.
I would not have to ask where this guy's from hearing his name.
Or a shaft. He documented it and the outside areas. He found above-ground ancient stone carvings along with megalithic blocks that appeared to have machining marks on them. So what's going on down there? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Whenever people make a discovery like this and then mysteriously start passing away, you know whatever they just found was significant.
Wait, what are you going to show me?
My picture.
So, the only other thing I have to say is if those were machined out and they were actually carved out by people, I don't know if we could figure out, or I mean, we can always guess at what those were, but I'm not sure we would ever know without fully exploring them and getting the answer, digging it out, so to speak.
picture you drew?
That's Daddy, that's Mummy, and that's me.
And what's that?
That's Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
Who's Steve?
My friend.
Your imaginary friend?
My best friend.
Your best friend, Steve. You've got a best friend that looks like this.
My best friend, Steve.
Okay. I'm leaving the house.
If my little sister showed me this drawing, I would do everything in my power to stay on her good side, because it looks like her imaginary best friend is really Papa Legba. But that was the video, guys. Don't forget to
Papa
sub
Legba.
up, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next.
That's a new one. Lalanya. So sometimes I wonder about the knowledge that's out there and what people see and don't see and those types of things and what they know. Because Lalanya, and we've seen several videos about the woman in white before, and she's always found near water. But then I was watching 007 Road to a Million, and one of the questions to save somebody from elimination was where could you find Lalanya? And they told this story and they kind of gave some clues. Like if you just observed the woman dancing on the floor, you could see it looked like she'd been standing in water, maybe had some mud on her feet. You know, you could just kind of figure it out. But I wouldn't have needed any of that. I would have just been like, water, enter, done. I have the fastest answer. I'm moving on. See you guys. I'm in the middle. I would have never made it. There was some challenges that they had. I'm like, nope, not doing that. and I'll tell you, the first season of 00 Road to a Million was much more intense and looked way, way more difficult to complete. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. I like season 1 better than season 2. Season 1 made me think, if anybody wins £1 million, they deserve it. I mean, that was so difficult. And this year, they kind of made it where teams were matching up against each other, and they'd all make it to the next level, except for one team that would be eliminated. So it's going to give somebody a shot at the £1 million, but I don't know if they should do it that way. I liked season 1 where, you know, they had a bunch of teams that weren't really competing against each other, but more of themselves and the different tasks that they had to do. And then the questions were always so tough. I think I might have gotten half the questions in season 1, and that's extraordinary because I know a lot of trivia. So a lot of those questions were extremely difficult that they came up with. I liked it a lot. You know, I know I'm rambling. We're going to go from one subject to another here. And I've watched a lot of TV and movies in my life. I've watched a lot of TV, a lot of movies. We have the best movies, the best TV. Now, when I watched TV when I was a kid, I watched Jeopardy a lot, and through the years too. But I remember Jeopardy back in the 1980s seemed ridiculously hard, and they would answer all the questions. It was crazy. You'd watch, and I'm stealing a joke here from one of the comedians. He'd watch Wheel of Fortune, and he'd be like, I'm a genius. Look, I solved that puzzle with just 2 letters. Come on, guys. This is not a challenge. And then Jeopardy would come on. I'll take aliens with 10 heads for 200, Alex. And then, like, no one could get these but the contestants that were on the stage. And that was true. I mean, those questions back then were supremely difficult. So there's something to be said for things that were tough and very difficult to earn back then. And I guess even in season 1 of 00 Road to a Million. All right. Enough of the paranormal. There are a couple videos here that caught my eye right when I started to come in looking at this, and Asmongold is one of them. As you know, his father just died. I have not seen this video, so I don't know what he's going to be talking about here, So I just wanted to kind of react to that. Why is... I don't think he's quitting YouTube. I think he's just quitting Fortnite or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll watch that for too. There's a lot of good content here, I think, tonight. Must be a lot of just something like that. There we have them. That's nice. That's the highlight in the shorts. Well done, guys. Get it out there. So yeah, that's that. This one and that. So, but there's also this one. And then it's gone now. I hate when that happens. It was. No one tells you what happens when you're having ghosts, and this guy having issues. So I might look for that. Let's watch this one and a couple of shorts, and we'll go from there. And if you see, my shorts are on there. Look at that. That's amazing.
A lot of you guys have seen the video, right? And so, like, I'm not going to go through this. But, like, long story short is that my dad passed away. He did. And this happened a little bit over 2 weeks ago at this point. And I
will say, he seems much more well adjusted. And in one of his previous videos, he talked about how much of a difficult man his father was, and how his father prepared him and typed in the box so that one day, when he was no longer here, he would be just fine. And that's I can't say he looked just fine, but from at week 2, he looks much better.
Actually, I was very busy dealing with that. It turns out, like, dying is really complicated. Oh my God, there's so much paperwork with it. Holy fuck. And so I've had to deal with that a lot, and yeah, really, I know it's fucking horrible. And I
apologize for the language, but we're gonna say.
Like, I feel like a lot of it hasn't even really set in like a big case. It hasn't really affected me, and you know, like, really, I like yesterday I went into his house and I just honestly I just cried, right? And I'll just say it. And first time I really have in quite a while. And let me make sure I turn that down. I think it's a little bit loud. And so and you know, it was the first time I had ever since like the first couple of days, and so it was just really it's been really rough. And so my dad passed away, and basically he, you know, it was one of those situations where he just decided pretty much, I mean, he had pancreatic cancer, he had pneumonia 6 times. I'm pretty sure he just decided, man, it's time to clock the fuck out, right? Like, I'm done with this shit. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And that's exactly what he did. And, you know, they told me there really wasn't that high of a probability of, you know, things were good, right? And then, like, I'm talking to 2 of the doctors there. They're telling me it's not a matter of if, but when he's coming out of the hospital. I said, okay, great. And then the next day, they're calling me as I'm driving over there, telling me that he's probably not going to come out of the hospital. And so that was a very, very unpleasant situation, and it was awful, to be honest with you. So that basically is what happened. And then, obviously, you know, I was there with
mentioned some of this before in this video.
The whole way, all the way through, up until the very end, which was very unpleasant, but I'm glad that I did it. And that's kind of what happened. Roller coaster? Yeah, definitely a roller coaster. You end up doing hospice? I did. And I, you know, like, it was as comfortable, because, like, he and I had obviously had conversations about this, you know, in the past, and, you know, because he's 78. And so, like, because of that, I mean, it was very obvious that, like, you know, this could happen at any time. And so he's like, okay, listen, this is what you're going to do. This is what I want. This is how I want it done. And that's how, you know, like, this is the decision-making I want you to do.
Death and dying are never easy, but thinking about, I like the way his dad went about it, because he's like, okay, when I leave this world, this is how I want everything to go. And if you can follow this as much as possible. So setting it up to be that just basically in charge of everything after you pass, in charge of the stuff. I can't remember the specific term for that. And actually that for different people.
it's interesting. It's weird. At least to me. I think they need to get that now. Okay, how am I doing all this? Because,
you know, at one point in my life, I've been to more weddings than years I've been alive. Anyway. Come on, Asmongold. Hit me with it.
To do. I executed that decision making, and that's what I did. And so, you know, it's weird, right? Because I've lost both my parents now, and I'm kind of just here. You know, I'm just here. I'm an only child, right? And so I'm just kind of here, and it's given me a lot of time to think, and it's given me a lot of time to just kind of, you know.
This is a great outlet for him to be able to get everything out, kind of analyze it, and do it with it. The mindfulness is an aspect where he's able to really go through this, and he has the chat to just have the stuff.
I don't know. I mean, like, and this is something I really didn't kind of talk about a lot in my video, is that ever since I was like, you know, I would say like 23, but really 15, like in 2005, somewhere around there, my family, like me and my mom and my dad, got in a really bad accident, and my mom like broke her wrist, and I think they said that she had like a heart attack while they were doing an operation on her or something like that, and she was like never the same after this operation. And so ever since then, I had been having to like kind of take care of her and help her, etc. Then as I got into my early 20s, like, you know, 21, 22, 23, especially 23, you know, things just kind of deteriorated and they got worse. And so at that point, like, I couldn't really move out. I couldn't, you know, go and, you know, pursue anything that I wanted to do because my mom didn't have anybody else. You know, she was here in Austin, Texas. All her family's in Florida. And so, like, I mean, at that point, I didn't really have, like, funds to help her any other way. And so I had to take care of her. And so I had put off a lot of, you know, things that I think that you would do. Like, I did a lot. Like, I don't want anybody to get an idea that, like, you know, growing up, like.
So then at the limit to sit and to serve each other
and help each other out. So him putting things off that he wanted to do, I'm fine with that. I'm glad he did that, because the truth of the moon, especially because there's on a bit that sounds done with and help it out, then nobody else might be able to do that. That's such a big thing. And really that thing to just being out there and helping and understanding that he was able to do that. And it doesn't sound like he's bragging about like the sacrifice, and it's just so great of me. He's not saying it that way. He's like, hey, look, this is just what happened, kind of thing. I like it.
Things were bad. I mean, like, things were actually very good in a lot of cases, but there's always negative aspects to it, right? And one of them was that, you know, like, for me, I ended up having to take care of her from about, you know, I would say, like, on a soft level from 15, but, like, really seriously from, like, 23 to, like, 31. Whenever she passed away, I was 31 then. And so then there was like a year and a half, and that was like the Elden Ring, Lost Ark, Johnny Depp saga of my stream, where my dad was healthy, and also my stream was I was streaming all the time, and I didn't have anything I had to deal with, right? And so then fast forward to like maybe 6 months after that, my dad gets really, really sick. Like, I mean, and this is like one of the things where, like, one of the reasons why I wasn't as upset about, like, losing my dad now is that I thought I was going to lose him 2 years ago. Like, I was already past all 5 stages of grief at that point.
One day I might tell this story, but something very similar happened to me where I actually did have asked my dad. And for a year and a half, 2 years, there of the past. And then I found out that was I don't know to. I don't know. But then he eventually passed, I think about 2 years ago now. 3 years ago now. Interesting times.
Because like y'all didn't see this because I never talked about it really on my stream, but like he couldn't even get up and walk to the door, right? And so like, and this was going on for like a month. It was really fucking bad. And so at that point, obviously, like I had to do a lot more for him, and I had to make sure I was available all the time for him. So in a way, like ever since I was 15, but I would say really like in a more like defined way, like 20 in like early 20s, I'd say 23, 22 to now, I've spent my entire life basically being a caretaker for one or the other of them minus about 2 years.
Kind of the same situation, except it's been really an extended caretaking mission for him. And it's destroyed his relationship with pretty much most other people in his life. Kind of interesting that sometimes the very things real bad. I don't want to get too many details, but this guy is that. And let's say that he's been a prototype of someone maybe 30 years. And so in a lot of ways I think that sacrifice is very noble. But in the end, I mean, Asmongold is different. He's made a living. He probably doesn't need to stream anymore, really, at this point. If he's wise with his money and doesn't spend too much, I'm sure he's fine, and he will be. Like, if he never streamed again, he could ride off into the sunset and do everything that he wanted to do, that he'd been holding back on, and just experience life in that way. Or he could, streaming might be what he wants to do, and he can continue to do that. So it's good for Asmongold, but my friend isn't so lucky in that. Maybe he should start his own YouTube channel. Anyway, thinking things through, he hasn't really worked in those 30 years, and they're prime years of his life. I mean, I don't know if he can get a job now. I don't think he could. And I really don't know what's going to happen to him once the person he's taking care of finally passes. I don't know. It would have been nice if he could have gotten a stipend or something for taking care of this person. And the state would have paid him to do that. And maybe there was some way he could have worked that out, but there's some other considerations there that I think he didn't want to bring attention to. So who knows? Anyway, just different points of view, different perspectives on the same kind of deal that he's talking about.
Maybe a little bit less than 2 years. And so now that they're both gone, there is a it's like it's like you're alone and you're also free, right? And that's a very weird feeling for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, people are trying to make plans with me and stuff, and it's like I can actually just kind of do whatever I want to do, right? I can do whatever I want to do. And it's like a bittersweet thing where it's like I would always resent and hate and be angry at my parents for the obligation that they put on me. But it's unfortunate now that I wish I'd do anything to have it back.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's a very strange dynamic. But I'm glad he was there, was able to do that for his parents, and was able to spend the time with them that he could. So there shouldn't be any regret, in my opinion. There shouldn't be any regret from Asmongold for what he did and the time that he spent with them. The regret is not being able to do that further or any longer.
But you can't go back, and that's why we're here. My dad, 3 or 4 days, he's on hospice. I come in, it's like 2 or 3 p.m. He's like, "Why aren't you live?" I said, "Motherfucker, you're dying." "What do you mean, why am I not live?" He says, "Oh, right, yep." It's just...
Did he forget, or did he want you?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? And so, yeah, no, I mean, he went out as, as much of a hard ass as he's ever been. And, my dad and I, there was a lot of friction between us growing up and as an adult. I mean, I was very, upset and mad at him about stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter, and that's about it. And so he was your biggest fan. He would watch me all the time, like every day, man. He would. And it's really weird for me to think about, like, because he would call into the stream all the time and everything, and it's like, fuck, man. Fuck. It's the end of an era, right?
Yeah.
And
it's never going to be the same again.
It sucks. It really sucks. And I don't really talk a lot about, like, my feelings and emotions and shit like this, right? I'm not a big guy into getting into it. But it's
today you are.
It really
today
is.
You are.
And
you're that man today.
I'm glad to be back. I definitely am. But it's been a rough time. I'll certainly say that. And I mean, I will say, he's giving a lot of his stuff away. But I got him recorded on video saying that the 2014 V8 Hemi Performance Package Dodge Challenger is going to me. Yeah, I mean, and so I'm talking about this, and S-Fan messages me. He says, "You master-looted it." And I was like, wait a minute. I actually master-looted a
He could buy one himself. I don't think he needs to get it. I mean, it's special that it's his dad's, so he has a part of his dad with him in that. I think that's really cool, but he could have bought his own.
In real life. I didn't even realize that until he just told me this. I never even thought about it like this. But that's what it was. Yeah, full circle. Yeah, bro, like life imitates art, right? And so, yeah, nothing's ever changed. Yeah, exactly, right? And so that's basically where it was at. And I'm trying to think what else really has been going on really with me besides that. And take us for a ride? Yeah, maybe one day I will. And so, yeah, I mean, that's basically been how things have been for me, right? And I'm just, it's been a lot for me to deal with. I'll certainly say that. Let me make sure I've got to get all my stream and everything set up here. It's a little bit different. And don't let the car rot. Take care of it, man. Oh, he would complain all the time about me letting the first car that he gave me rot, which, I mean, he gave me the car, which, by the way, just in case
sounds like a dad.
Thinking about this,
and a
I
gearhead.
actually bought this car. I bought it for him. And so it's like whenever I'm getting it, like I'm really getting the car that I bought back. And so like, it's not really, I mean, yes, it's very generous of him to do this, but I did pay for the car myself. And so, yeah, that's basically
yeah,
been
see,
it.
yeah.
And,
No, he's
anyway,
getting,
so,
yeah,
it's repossession,
that makes
really,
sense.
whatever you think about it.
That makes sense.
And, anyway, what you have to fight out in court is video enough to get a challenge to state line to go shit. No, I mean, like, I'm his only son, nobody else. Like, I'm giving away all of his shit. Like, I mean, not all, obviously not all of it, but like, I'm giving
Estate
away
executive,
like 90% of his money.
Planner.
I'm giving away probably even his house. I'm giving away all the stuff, and you know,
Thanks for the follow.
Holy fuck! Oh my god!
Hey, thank you for the follow.
I go over to his house regularly.
Really appreciate that.
In order to like check the mail, etc. Right?
I'm going to try and say this. The Manaso.
Every 2 or 3
the Mano
days.
So.
He
No,
gets like
I butchered that. I apologize about that. But I do thank you for the
from
follow.
these like different non-profit charities he would donate to. He would donate to like 50 of these fucking things. And so they're sending a mail constantly asking for money. And it's like, you know, oh, this is a letter. It says, you know, $20 saves 20 dogs. If you donate $10, only 10 dogs die. How much do you want to donate? And it's like, you know, the most blatant and obvious emotional manipulation that you can possibly have. But I've decided...
Dude, talk about emotional manipulation. Like, there's no secret. I watched a ton of TV and movies. I've probably seen over 10,000 movies in my lifetime. Over 10,000. Probably closer to 15,000 lifetime. It's something my mom and I did. We'd go to the movies all the time. She eventually owned a video store back when, you know, it was a dying industry, and you had the red boxes and the Blockbuster boxes and the Netflix, which eventually became the streaming service, came about. But she had a video store. So at that time, I would spend time helping her run the store. And, you know, there'd be some foot traffic, but there wasn't a lot. So I just put on whatever video I wanted to watch. I watched everything. Like, I'd even put on Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And I would stop those when people would come in. So I'm like, yeah, I can't be watching this when somebody's there. But if I pause it, the screen would go blue, like to save the TV. So nobody really could see what I was watching. They just knew I was probably watching something a little inappropriate. So when there were people in the store, I wouldn't have it on, but the rest of the time, I'd be sitting there watching it, chilling out. But back to my point, emotional manipulation. And some of you, maybe a lot of you, will remember this commercial coming on. It was Sarah McLachlan, the song I Will Remember You, I think, or something like that. And it would be these animals that had just been abused, that were out in the weather, shivering and shaking and beaten and raw, and just this overlay of I will remember you. And it's like, can you let these poor puppies get abused any longer? Just $20 a week, $80 a month will save 10 dogs from this. Oh my God. Just, yeah. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. And I think of Mad Men at times like this, where those advertisers, they know what the heck they're doing, or they used to. They don't know anymore since the DEI stuff came in the woke regime took over, because it's not the same. It's actually quite the opposite. It's off-putting. So maybe they need some advertising people to come in and really tell them how to do it. But yeah, that really is a thing and I could see why he gets a lot. And once you donate, boy, they pile it on. They know they got you. So that's really
I
it.
did that. You know, I'm going to contact all of these different charities and everything. and I'm going to just tell them, like, you know, this is what happened, and I'm just going to make a donation in his and my name just in perpetuity for, like, whatever the amount that he was donating. I'm just going to do that for the rest of, you know, the rest of the time. I think that's what he would have wanted to do. And so it's going to, honestly, it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. Because calling all of them and then doing all of that, but that's what I'm going to do. And they're scams. I mean, he donated to, like, Wounded Warriors Salvation Army. He used to go to the Salvation Army whenever he was, like...
So, one thing I will say, not that I have anything against any of those charities. And I know I'm taking a breath before this, but I know a lot of those charities some of them are for profit, and they actually make their money being a charity. That's how they do it. They're tax exempt, so they can get away with a little bit more even.
And then on top of that, there have been, like,
ones that have kind of destroyed themselves. I think Red Cross. Well, I don't want to say individual ones. So this may not be true of the Red Cross, but there have been documented cases of charities who you donate, you're giving somebody 90% of that donation, and 10% actually goes to people who really need it. So really research your stuff before you put it out there. And I'm guilty of that too. I don't do that as much as I should. So just be careful with these things out there. I think it's a great thing. If you feel like donating to a charity, by all means, go do it. Help somebody out. Make them feel good. Make yourself feel good. I guarantee if you do that, you're going to feel amazing. And you're going to make somebody else feel great too.
You know, like hitchhiking around. And so, like, really, I don't think it's necessarily a scam. I would be surprised if it was a scam. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. How many dogs are you going to save? I don't know. It's up to him. And whatever he was, the amount that he was saving, that's what I will continue to save.
So, I will say, what did he just say? I had something to say on it.
It was a scam. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. How many dogs are you going to save? I donated to, like, Wounded Warriors. And so, like, really, I don't think it's necessarily a scam. I would be surprised if it was a scam. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. How many dogs are you going to save? I don't know. It's up to
ADHD.
him. And whatever he was, the amount that he was saving, that's what I will continue to save. A lot of you guys have seen the video, right?
So, yeah, that's the one I wanted to watch. Let's see if we can go find that one about the guy hunting ghosts. If you guys have not seen Bobby Lee's mom, you should watch that. Corey Kenshin, another one I like to watch. He's got a Spooky Scary Sunday one up. I'll watch that on my own. You guys should watch that too. The Triple S is always a great watch. I like that. I did watch this. I watched this one. Oh, Asmongold's reacting. Go watch that. Go watch the original if you can find it. Jean Stapleton is this actress. She played Edith Bunker on Archie Bunker, or what was that show called? Something Family. Archie's Family. All in the Family. All in the Family. And then she did like 3 seasons with it, and then her character passed on, and she went to go do other stuff. And the rest of the cast stayed on. But this is why she didn't do Edith's voice. And I like these old classic ones. We're going to watch this. It's short. How long is this? It's under a minute. Oh, this is Dick Cavett. So back when people really knew how to do talk shows, there was Dick Cavett and some others. But Johnny Carson's the gold star. GOAT. No one is Johnny. I thought that Jimmy Fallon might be that way, and he was for a while. I thought he was, finally we got somebody almost as good, I mean, he never was quite as good as Carson was. There's just something magical when you're watching Johnny Carson, you know, especially night after night of watching Johnny. And for me, you know, I had this, growing up, I had this small, tiny little 13-inch black and white TV. And it was on the shelf near my bed. And some nights I just wanted to see his monologue. And he would have whatever skit right after the monologue. So I might sneak up and stay up till like 11, because that's when all of that would end. So then I would shut it off. And sometimes my mom would catch me. She's like, "You can't be watching that. You need to go to bed. You got school." So there's always this little, I got to play it really quiet and quiet enough she can't hear it, kind of thing. But yeah, it was just, there was just, I don't know. I can't explain it. Go watch it and just don't think about anything really. Don't try and analyze or reason. Just sit there and enjoy it. Just sit on your couch, you know, have a late night, whatever, hot cocoa, tea, whatever. Maybe nothing with caffeine in it, so maybe not quite tea, but something warm on a cold night, and just watch an episode of Carson. And only allow yourself one episode. That's all you get. You can watch one every night if you want, but only one, because you have to. That's kind of one of the things I was thinking about, or think about from time to time. Why don't we do Christmas more often? Well, the reason it's special is it only comes once a year. You only have one day of Christmas out of the year. And then you have to wait a whole year for Christmas to come around again. That's why it's special. So for Carson, there's all this, you know, you have 30, 40 years worth of shows. And if you started watching it now, you wouldn't finish until 2065 if you watched Monday through Friday, right? But I mean, and actually, eventually they went from 90 minutes to 1 hour, and they went from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. So there aren't even as many as that. But they are special. I would recommend them, and they knew how to do it back then. Here.
You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but it would be interesting just to hear the contrast between your own voice and Edith. Now that we've just heard you talk, if you were to say as Edith now, my husband Archie wouldn't agree with you. Could you lapse into it?
Would you excuse me if I didn't do that?
Sure, I can see why you might not want to. Tell me why you'd rather not. That's interesting.
Well, I like to, for the reason that we spoke of when we first started talking this evening, that I would like the public to realize that there are two identities to an actor who's playing a role. And I'm certainly available on Saturday nights as Edith, and I love doing it.
It's a good answer. And it certainly puts me in my place.
Would you do their voices?
No.
Oh, please.
No. Why do you say no?
I don't do that. Do you?
No, I never do. Why do you say no?
You don't?
No.
Well, in the first place, I only do it for pay.
Well, what if we paid you?
You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but it would.
But I really like her answer, is that she's her own person, and that's a role she's playing. So you know when she's talking in this voice, she's herself, and when she talks in the other voice, it's the character that she's playing. And she had no prep for this, so there's a lot of actors who need that to get into the role and kind of feel like the person they're portraying. It was cool to see them on. I didn't know they were on a talk show together later. That was really cool. All right, back out, and you could see the difference between the classic show and the new show. And I prefer Dick Cavett over. I don't even know who those two were. Couldn't tell you. Let's see. Can we find what people don't talk about ghost hunting. I didn't have to scroll down this far the first time. Dang it. Oh no, is this guy dying? I always see this sad news, and then it's always an announcement that they have cancer or something, and they're passing away. All right, let's take a what no one. See if we can find it. Yep, this is it.
With God, and I'm not gonna lie, it completely changed how I view all of this. And he told me how important it was to make this video. It's been something I've battled with for a couple of years now, and even some of my YouTube friends that make similar videos have talked to me about. So today I want to share from my heart and from the Bible why talking to the dead is a bad idea.
I've said this the whole time.
And I think you'll see why by the end of this, it's something you don't want to mess with. Now, a little bit about me.
Biblically, it says that. Don't consult the spirits, don't interact with the spirits, and it even extends further for witches and soothsayers and any practitioners of magic, which tells you ghosts and spirits are real. Well, he's probably going to tell you the same thing I'm going to tell you, is that there really aren't a lot of ghosts out there, because when people die, they go to judgment. So there probably aren't a lot of actual ghosts out there. It's probably demonic spirits that you're encountering, for one. But then that little section also tells you magic's real. And there are practitioners of that. And you shouldn't delve into that. So it's interesting that just that little section gives you so much information.
And never really shared this before until now. When I started making creepy videos, it was mainly a challenge of how long me and my friends can last somewhere creepy overnight. A place that most people wouldn't dare to visit at night. Abandoned asylums, houses, strange roads.
I've seen some of this.
Cave, or even a cemetery with a...
I've seen some of this guy's stuff on television on Discovery. He's actually gotten fairly famous. Interesting. I didn't realize this was that guy.
Dark past or dark history. One of my biggest personal fears was spending the night at a cemetery, and I legit camped out at a cemetery just to face my fears. And I did. This was more about exploring and entertainment. I wasn't talking to the dead. I wasn't using ghost hunting tools or apps, just exploring. And it was so much fun. As I made these videos and my YouTube channel grew to new highs, it put an immense amount of pressure on me to make the next video bigger, better, scarier. And it's part of content creation in general. People love...
What? I'm going to have to go bigger, get better? No. No. I'm not chasing like that. I have fun doing what I'm doing. And watching videos and stuff is what I was planning on doing. Actually, I didn't think I'd be on as long as this. So it's been interesting. I've just, I'm tired because of work and stuff and things I've been working on, and it's taken a lot of the time that I had after hours. So interesting stuff.
I love these videos, and of course I listen to the viewers. I usually do.
Ooh.
You should get some ghost hunting equipment, Omar. Ask the spirits questions. Talk to psychics. The moment I started doing this, strange things started happening in my life, but in a very negative way.
Yeah.
I had demons showing up in my house as I slept one night, and maybe I'll make a video about this, but I legit saw something hovering over me unlike any creature I've ever seen, and it did not look friendly. I was having some pretty bad luck. I even lost my wife of 16 years, and no, I did not cheat on her. I had to and still have to pay a small fortune. I had to pay $100,000 to her up front and $6,000 per month in alimony for the next 10 years.
Yikes. little workaround, move out of the country.
All because this happened at the height of my YouTube career. But that's not what hurt the most. What hurt the most was losing my family basically overnight. Not being able to hug and kiss my kids goodnight every single night like before.
Sure.
And yes, I felt responsible for it. Because of this darkness I invited into my life.
Yeah.
And my home.
Yeah.
I was making money, my YouTube channel was thriving, but my faith in God disappeared. Had the worst anxiety ever, and I was ready to end my own life. True story. God had been telling me for so long to stop, and even showed me through scripture that what I was doing was wrong. But I felt I had to, because the money had become an idol to me. I didn't want to let go. But the moment I finally did, yes, I lost a lot of money, subscribers, and even people who I thought were friends. But I have a peace and happiness now that no amount of money could ever buy. So why do people talk to the...
You know what would be cool? What I'd really like to see here is a complete healing of this man. Meaning that his wife and children get back together. I know that's really difficult to envision at this point because it sounds like she soaked him for a lot of money. And that's not a good thing. I mean, if you cared at all for each other or care for each other, you kind of try and work that out, and you don't try and get everything that you can out of the other one. And it sounds like that's kind of what she did to him. So that's unfortunate.
The dead, or try to talk to the dead. I get it. People want answers. They want closure. They want to know if their loved ones are okay. And I'm kind of guilty of that myself. I've seen it through my own videos, viewers writing things like, I just wish I could hear from my mom or dad again, or my brother or sister. Is my brother watching over me? Can I communicate with them using the equipment that you're using?
You should not.
That longing is real. But here's the hard truth. If you try to connect with the dead, the Bible says you're not talking to who you think you are. And I kind of knew this in the back of my mind. And the Bible's crystal clear about this stuff. In Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12, it says, Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, who consults the dead. Anyone who does...
Huh. It's kind of what I just talked about, only he's giving you word for word. I like that. Wow. That was amazing.
These things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. In Leviticus.
So he's telling that this is to the Israelites. Because they're getting ready to go into the land of milk and honey, which is Israel, which is modern day Israel. Only it's like, if you look at Israel back then, it's like twice the size as it is. It's a shell of its former self, so to speak. But he's also telling individuals. So it's like the Israel nation and individual people. All the same thing. It's all the same stuff. Not one of you should do this, and as a nation, you should not do this. Oh yeah. If you read towards the end of the Old Testament, talking about sacrificing your kids in the fire, the Israelites were doing that. At least that's what the Bible says. It's in there. And it says, like, even though my wrath is coming against Nebuchadnezzar, he was king at the time, and against Israel, there were a certain number of Israeli people at the time who were not doing that, who were actually still doing and practicing the law of Moses and what was told to them back then. But it's a very small number, like 412 or something like that. It's very tiny. It's fractional. It's funny how often that small amount of a number will actually proceed. Like even going to Israel and getting into the land of milk and honey, from everybody that set off that were rescued out of Egypt, I think there were like 4 that actually made it to Israel. The rest of the Israelites were born along the way, and a whole generation passed away in the desert. It's very interesting. And the same thing, you see it throughout the Bible. It's like going to that promised land or being saved, like when Noah and his 3 sons and their wives, so 8 people were saved from the earth that went into the ark. Very minuscule, minor amount. I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry.
It's 1931. It says, "Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God." And this is the story that really broke me, and I mean, it scared me, honestly. Near the end of his life, King Saul was desperate for answers. He felt like God wasn't speaking to him anymore. So instead of humbling himself and turning back to God, guess what he did? He went to a medium, the so-called Witch of Endor. Saul then said to his attendants, "Find me a woman who is a medium, so I may go and inquire of her." "There is one in Endor," they said. So Saul disguised himself, putting on other clothes, and at night he and 2 men went to the woman. "Consult a spirit for me," he said, "and bring up for me the one I name." The medium tried to summon the prophet Samuel, and God allowed Samuel to actually appear, but it wasn't by her power, but as judgment against Saul. Samuel said to Saul, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" "I'm in great distress," Saul said. "The Philistines are fighting against me, and God has departed from me. He no longer answers me, either by prophets or by dreams. So I called on you to tell me what to do." Samuel said, "Why do you consult me, now that the Lord has departed from you and become your enemy?" God became his enemy for this. You gotta think, we serve a jealous God. I mean, this is basically idolatry. Not long after this, Saul's downfall was complete. In 1 Chronicles 10:13 through 14, it tells us why. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord, and even consulted a medium for guidance, and did not inquire of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David, son of Jesse. So here's the lesson. Saul didn't just make a mistake. He rejected God's voice and went looking for answers in the dead, and it destroyed him. And this story, like I said, it scared the crap out of me. But what's really happening spiritually? Here's what the Bible says about the dead. In Ecclesiastes 9:5, "The living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing." In other words, the dead aren't hanging around waiting to chat with us or use a spirit box to communicate with us. So who are people actually speaking to in these seances, Ouija boards, or ghost hunting equipment? Well, here's a hint. The Bible warns us in 2 Corinthians 11:14, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light.
What did I say?
Demons can pretend to be anyone. They appear to be comforting. They sound like your grandma, sound like your mom. They can even play nice at first, but it's all...
We've seen videos, I think I've seen videos on this channel. If I haven't watched them on this channel with you guys, there are videos out there where there are things called mimics, and very creepy, extremely creepy, where, like, and there are stories of this, but they've actually happened, where a child is woken up in the middle of the night, it's just something off in the house, and it's kind of dark. There might be some night lights on so he can see his way, and he's kind of getting this eerie, creepy feeling. So he's like, I'm gonna go lay in my mom's bed. I'm too scared. I can't go back to sleep in my own room. So the child gets up, starts walking down, like they're in the upstairs. They're upstairs. And there's a banister. Hey, Josh. And you may have heard this story too, but there's like a banister and a staircase down. What are you doing up so late? You were looking for Hollow Knight? I'm too tired. I can't be doing that. I've been work focused. That's why I haven't streamed the last 2 nights. I'm too tired. I can't do it. This is probably going to be the last video too. I'm cutting out. I'm going to bed. So just trying to get through this one, and then I'll cut it off for the night. But to finish my story, so the child goes out, and he's going to go down to his... Oh, that's right. Dude, that's a great... I'm sure that was a great show. I like Hans Zimmer too. But yeah, I wasn't going to go on in the middle of the week. Anyway, so the child goes, and I'm going to go lay in my mom's room. It's creepy in here. I don't know what's going on. So as the child's walking across the upper banister, he hears his mom's voice from downstairs, calling out to the child and saying, "Hey, I'm down here. Come down here and be with me." So the child starts walking over the stairs to go downstairs, and just as the child passes the bathroom, his mom steps out and pulls him into the bathroom, puts her hand over the kid's mouth and says, "Be quiet. I heard that too." And that has been a thing. I've seen videos of people who there's a strange voice in the house that sounds like themselves calling out to them. And I've heard, I bet it was. I was mixed on. I'm glad I didn't, and I'm on call. So I would have just been thinking about if I get a page anyway, so it's just too distracting. But that's some of the stuff that happens is those mimics just talk in other voices. They are deceiving a lot of people, and they really want to harm and destroy. Everyone's up now. I'm glad it was really good. I am glad, Josh, that you got to see Hans Zimmer and everything was great. Let me ask you this. What was, or some of the things that he played that a lot of the people out there would recognize? You know what? That is really a creepy thought. Come into the office. Everything's going bad. You need to come in. Only you can fix it. Come on. It's okay. I'll buy you a sandwich. Pizza. Whatever. Donut. I'll get you a donut. Oh, you gotta be quicker than that. Anyway. Yeah, is there anything that he played, that we would recognize from some shows or anything like that? I know he's a composer, so it's probably all the stuff that he did. Maybe your favorite thing. How about that? And then we'll get back to the video. No? Did you? Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, that's great. Man, that was probably a great show. Well, oh, yeah, that's a good one, too. Man. Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad you got to experience that. I'm going to play the rest of the video now, and then we'll get out for the night.
Deception, trust me. And looking back at some of my old paranormal videos, there were moments where I felt that deception, like something wasn't right, something dark. was pretending to be harmless, a child. Now I realize the Bible already warned me that that would happen, and I'm grateful that I was able to see it. Talking to the dead isn't just harmless curiosity. It's dangerous because it opens the doors to spiritual oppression, and firsthand I could tell you that that does happen. It offers false comfort instead of real healing from a real God. It replaces God's guidance with demonic lies. And it's the same trap that Saul fell into, and it cost him everything. And I don't want no part of that. But here's the hope. We don't have to seek answers from the dead.
Yeah.
We can go straight
I think out of those
to
two
the
pirates,
living God. In John 11:25.
Before he gets into John 11:25, I just want to say, really, Hans Zimmer is great at composing in that, I mean, his music embodies those things. I can hear Gladiator music and see that movie. Like, it really brings that out, like that music's part of that scene, or it actually is sculpting the scene. And the same thing, especially for pirates, it really feels like pirate music, and that it's like their theme song. Wherever they walk and wherever they are in real life, I expect that music to be playing. So, I would agree both of those are, I mean, Batman Begins is great too. Interstellar, Inception. The Lion King is more of a kid's thing, and I think of the Elton John music more when I think of Lion King than I do Hans Zimmer's stuff. So that one, not so much. In The Rock, I think of Sean Connery a bit more than anything else when thinking about that movie. Yeah, you know the line I'm thinking of all of a sudden. But yeah, let's get back to the...
Jesus said this, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. This body isn't meant to last forever, but what is inside of you is. In Revelation 21:4, it says, he will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. See, instead of chasing shadows, we can look to the one who defeated death and promises us eternal life. That's real peace. There's been a lot of talk lately online and churches about Jesus' second coming, with the date being on September 23rd or September 24th.
The Holy Ghost was pulsating through me.
Okay. So here's something else he's probably going to say, because I thought the same thing, and I've said this before. Anybody who says that they had a vision or a dream or prophesied that this was the date, then they should never be believed again, because whatever spirit that is lying. It's lying to them, and then therefore he thinking it's real, says that to us, and it's false. So whatever is really happening there, it's false. So just be careful with those guys. I'm sure he's going to go into some of that here. Oh, interesting. You know what? I'm going to listen to that tomorrow, keeping that in mind, that Hans Zimmer's dad died when he was 6, and that was a Requiem. That's just interesting. I think that's actually really cool. So, is it like, you say the music has made you think of your mom? Is that more of, and if you don't want to chat about this, I understand. We can talk one-on-one later. Is it like a certain song, like the Lion King one, or is it his music in general? What is doing that?
You don't know how to describe it. Then I hear God tell me, tell my world that I am coming so soon. Then I heard September, 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 September. And then the days 23rd, 24th, 23rd, 24th.
I'll be honest, none of us can put a date on.
This is October 1st, by the way. So we're definitely past all that. Yep. Yep. I can see that pretty clearly. You know, Hans Zimmer just really knows what he's doing as a composer. Boy, that's just amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Josh. Really appreciate that.
On that. It can happen while watching this video right now, or on those specific dates that I just mentioned. Jesus says to always keep watch and to be ready. Luke 12:40 says, "You also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him." With the level of evil, confusion, and spiritual warfare we're seeing around the world today, a lot of people are waking up and saying, he is near. Demons are manifesting themselves like never before, and I know you know what I'm talking about. They know they're running out of time too.
Charlie Kirk.
But in the midst of all this, I'm seeing a hunger for God that I've also never seen before. People picking up Bibles for the first time, people going to church for the first time. I mean, like never before. I believe this is God's final altar call. And who knows, this might be yours. Tomorrow is never promised. And I'm not trying to scare you. I want to wake you up. That hot sense of urgency, that's actually an invitation. If you've been dabbling in the paranormal, chasing voices, signs, searching for answers in the wrong places as I did, consider this your call to look to the living God instead. If Jesus were to return tomorrow, where would you stand? If your heart is moving right now and you're ready to turn away from darkness and step into life, I want to pray with you. This isn't about religion.
He's going to share the sinner's prayer here in just a second. I'm not sure. There's something about the sinner's prayer, and I know Charlie Kirk mentions it, that's dangerous about it. So just as you're watching this with me, just keep that in mind.
It's about a genuine relationship with Jesus, the one who conquered death and offers real, lasting hope, happiness, peace, and it's not just about our eternal life, but right here, right now, you can have that. Who doesn't want that? Well, at one time, that was me. I thought I could do it all on my own, and I'm telling you, as some of you already know, that road leads to destruction. If you're at the end of that road that offered absolutely nothing but brokenness, sadness, pain, suffering, and you want to turn the other way, reach out and grab that hand that's been there all along, waiting to bear all those sufferings you're going through, to release the chains of darkness from you. If you've never accepted Jesus into your life, repeat after me. Father God, I come to you as I am.
Thanks for the follow.
Sin, and I need your forgiveness. I believe Jesus Christ is your
follow,
Son,
Dak
and
Track.
you died for
really
my sins
appreciate that.
and rose again on the third day. Thank you. Right now, I turn from my old ways, and I invite Jesus to be my Lord and Savior. Fill me with your Holy Spirit and lead me in your truth. In Jesus' name, amen. If you just prayed that with me, I want you to know that all of heaven is celebrating. Please leave a comment and say, I prayed. Also, put on the full armor. Start reading the Bible every single day. Be around other Christians, true Christians. Go to a Bible-believing church and get baptized. And, this is very important. Find a church that preaches about holiness and not afraid to tell you the truth, even if it hurts. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of churches out there that only want your money and only tell you what the flesh wants by watering down the gospel. Stay away from those places. There's not many speaking about sin or the second coming of Jesus, which we all should be waiting for. And it's sad that there wasn't many that spoke about the unprecedented recent assassination that happened.
One other thing, this is not a secret on this channel that I'm Catholic. he has some great advice there. And for whatever your belief is, Bible-believing church, that is the Catholic Church, although I do think they should talk more about the second coming and some of the other stuff. One thing that just happened in Israel that is prophecy fulfilling is they just sacrificed the red heifer. That they can then use the ashes as consecrated to bless the tools that will rebuild the third temple. Now they said the Israelites said this was only a practice run. It wasn't the real red heifer, but they had 5 of those red heifers that were all authenticated. Now I think 3 of them had aged out, but they had 2, or maybe even just 1 remaining that didn't, that were lawful sacrifices for that. And personally, you think if you had the opportunity to go ahead and do that sacrifice, and if you really believed that this is the way you needed to rebuild the temple and get closer to God, and you had the heart for it, would you do a practice run, or would you just try and do the real thing? I think they tried to do the real thing, and I think they did the real thing. They also had one thing I didn't know is recently they found where the Dead Sea Scrolls were at the same time. They found 9 other casks from the 9 other red heifers that were sacrificed biblically. So they could also use those ashes, and I think they needed like 10 of those.
They're like bones almost, but they're tall and they're more specific for exactness. They need 10 of them to send all of them to the temple. So that's the heifer and and this that to the third temple probably be rebuilt for the next few years. If you leave it as that, and that, and that, in between the Holy of Holies and the Holy Place, in a place where he's not supposed to be, and proclaims himself God. So, it's happening.
And I agree. They should, and our church did talk about Charlie Kirk, and they talked about how it really, the same thing that this guy's talking about, how people started cracking their Bibles open, come to church for the first time. Really, this outpouring of people getting back and trying to get back with God, or maybe even for the first time. So there's it's biblical. There's a part of the Bible right before the end times that happens. So I think we're right there, where there's this great pouring out of the church, which is exactly what we're seeing right now. That's where we're at before all that happens. So it's interesting. I forgot about that until just now. Wow. There's 30 seconds left in here. Let's do it.
My brother in Christ, Charlie Kirk. It might take you a while, but if you're genuinely searching and praying, you'll find the right place to get fed spiritually. Now, Shelly and I might start a Bible study every week, and if you want to be a part of that, make sure to subscribe to my brand new channel, The Upper Room. I'll leave a link down below. Remember, don't chase the dead.
When he said subscribe, the subscribe button lit up red. That was interesting. I wonder if I can get my button to do that.
Not late.
That'd be cool.
He's near. Gotta go for now before we leave. Give me a kiss. Peace.
That was creepy.
If you've been
So, yeah, that's all the videos that I saw that I wanted to go over at this time. So, thank you guys for joining me. I know this is about at least 30 minutes longer than I wanted to be on. Probably more like an hour longer, but just want to relax and take a breath from the work week. So really appreciate everybody, and especially both Josh and Arbitrary for stopping in, especially you, Josh. That was really, might have been more entertaining than the video we were watching, to be honest. I thought this was going to be more about the haunted side of things, and after he started talking about and breaking that down, kind of knew that it probably wasn't going to be, but that's okay. It was filled with a really good message, and it was just really good, so I think that was worth the watch. Anyway, thank you guys. I'll try and get some good sleep tonight. I have stuff going on tomorrow, so I will try to be on, but no guarantees. But Friday, more Hollow Knight on Friday night, and maybe another reaction video. There was one more Mod Tricka, so probably do that. They're short. Mod Tricka is only 20 minutes, so by the time I get done adding my comments, and it's 40. So we'll have a half hour to 40 minutes of Mod Tricka, then we'll go right into Hollow Knight, and we're getting into the hard stuff in Hollow Knight, so there's that. All right. Thank you once again for joining me on Going Card Gaming, or Glowing Card, tonight. I've been your host, Adam. As always, thank you. And, oh yeah, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, just like you've been doing. Really appreciate that. And be sure to hit that notification button so you know when I'm on. Until next time, be good to each other.